explain or go and just talk about something. Like, back in like the early 1900s, back in the 1910s, there was, you know, a $10 rate. I mean, there were like over 1,221 jobs. You know, over 1,221 jobs back in those days. And in the 1910s, in the early 1910s, or in like the early 1900s, from 1900 to 1909, it was like $10 an hour back then. Sure, you got paid like some shekels of coins, but the shekel system was integrating with the bill system. Still, well, the bill system was still relatively new in the late 1700s, and this was, there was like, you know, back in like the 1930s, yeah, well, back in the 1920s, there were like a lot of board games by a lot of board game making companies that made, you know, colored board games. And if you were a kid, the board games, if you wanted a collection, you know, finesse, you know, your collection. I mean, back in like the 1920s, a board game, if you wanted like a collection of board games by so many different makers, I mean, we used to call, you know, well, they used to call game makers, well, they used to call game developers, game manufacturers, and game makers. Like if you wanted to like have like, let's say like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you wanted to like 14 up to 17 board games back in like the 1920s as a kid, they would run anywhere from $4 to $7 back then, because board games were cheap to make, and the pieces were usually either made out of faux plastic or lead metal, small little lead metal or steel metal pieces. And they also had card games, like a deck of cards, if you're into that kind of type of gaming back then. Because back in those days, you had to get together with a lot of people, a lot of friends. You know, you had to have your like pretty big group of friends back in those days and get together in each other's house to play board games against each other and play card games against each other back in the 1920s. And that was the equivalent of our today's online gaming. And there, and back in those days, like from like 1920 all the way to 1979, board games were the highest. Board and card games were the highest gaming market, and that included checkers and chess. But the physical, you know, elementary school games were played back in like the for like 300 years. The 1500s, the 1600s, and the 1700s had kids out and active. But in the early 1920s, there were like a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs. You know, you had to make like anywhere, well, it was still hourly wage. You know, back when, you know, hourly wage was like $11, and the bills, the late fee for the bills, you know, were, you know, uncommon. Like you didn't have, well, you didn't have, you know, like, you did not have to, you know, shell out thousands of dollars because you got, you know,
Don't be a dick, bro. I'm trying to look out for you. Just give me the keys.
Whatever, Dad. Totally fine. Just had a couple of beers.
What are you talking about?
yeah, you know.
Like 6 shots each. Look at you.
Hey, chill, man.
Hey, can you give me a ride just so Boy Scout out there can get his buzzkill badge? There's my car.
Like, yeah, you know, like, well, $11.
So where to, man?
I'm on Alta Place. Off, Howick Ave. It's not that far. Oh, I don't feel
You
so
had,
I just got a mouthful of something. You better take it slow. Hey, thanks for this, man. As you can see, I could have driven. No problem, but Joy Killer back there had to lay a guilt trip on me. You believe it when
yeah, you know, like, the $11 an hour was a thing, you know, back when, you know, $11, you know, like when you have make like 11% of, you know,
jacking off in the garage,
you know, like 11%, $11,
You might feel better.
you know, $11,
This is nothing.
you know,
You
like,
should see me on Thanksgiving, humping the turkey, shouting it. Wow! This is nothing. You should see me on
Like-
Thanksgiving, humping the turkey, shouting it.
Like-
You like my wishbone, don't you? Look at
like,
classic me.
well, you see,
Ladies in that place,
$11 an hour was a big deal back then. If you worked in like, you know, like, well,
spinning around.
You know, like,
Baba Black Sheep, have you any booze? No, sir, no, sir, I'm a sheep. Last time I partied with that guy, oh, boring. I'm not a bar, dude. I don't want to hear about your baby. Uh-oh. Whiskey Chasers. It's coming back to me now.
like $11. You would have to make like $11 an hour in the 1920s.
And this, kid, is why you don't get wasted.
Like, all parents did back in the 1920s was like work office, like some worked office jobs too, and some worked factory jobs and warehouse jobs. Like, you had to like make like, you know, like $11 an hour back then, and that was like literally enough, you know, like literally enough to make you know, like a living off of.
Thanks for the ride, man. I gotta get inside. I'm about to spill my guts. Take this to the gas. I'll see you around.
You need to go get your shit together, man.
Like you had like, you know, $11 an hour jobs that were, you know, like paying, you know, like decent wages for like $11 an hour every single day. 11% of the money plus 11% of the money equals to 0.1221, and that was like for like an average household, and it was on the equal playing field as the wealthy households back then. Like, the wealthy households and the middle class households were on the same, you know, playing field back then. You could make like, you know, like $11 an hour, and that was like, you know, enough to get your family by. But when you started saving up back in those days, that was like, you know, a, you know, heirloom back in those days. You know, that including the pension I mean, you got to think, they were insane pension hunters back in those days. They poached good at work. They were job poachers, poaching whatever jobs that were available, at the time. And the job market was insanely overrun. I mean, well, the world, or in this case, in our country, in America, this country was overrun with available jobs. You know, available jobs that, you know, had, you know, 11% more money. And you made like, you know, like 11% of the money that you have earned, plus a bonus, which was another 11%. 11% of the money for the highest to the lowest, and to the middle paying jobs. The mid-paying jobs, the low-paying jobs, and the high-paying jobs were all the same back then. and it stayed the same from the night from like the early 1900s to like the late 1970s, and $11 an hour wound up going from like, and for like an average family that had like to go through like a lot, and I mean like a lot of saving, and the 0.1221, and that was like a large and I mean, you gotta back me up on this one. That was like the largest amount or the largest percentage of money for an average family, average American family back in those days. I mean, you had, one thing to do: make money back in the day. And there were like 15, like board games / card deck manufacturing companies. I mean, look at the way at the way the world is worked. Look at the way the world worked from 1900 to 1979. I mean, if you wanted a damn game back in those days, it cost well, back in like the 1910, from like the 1910s to the 1950s, if you wanted a deck of cards, it ran up from anywhere from like $1 to $5 for a deck of playing cards back then. And if you wanted a board game, it would cost like anywhere from like $1 to $11 back in those days. I mean, attention to detail back then. And that was high quality gaming back then. And then we started going from, deck, like a card deck and board gaming, to sports, like physical gaming, sports, and we also had like air hockey, table tennis, and back in those days, you still had like 0.1221% of your daily family funding that built up over time, over a span of like 1 or 2 or 3 generations, that build up as a financial heirloom. Back in those days, that's how today's rich elitist scumbag motherfuckers these days, that are so fucking spoiled because their early early 1900s ancestors of the corporate world made a lot of made little money and saved up, or made not that very much money back then, but it was still enough to pay the bills and pay for a lot of shit, and the healthcare wasn't so expensive back then. Shit, these days everything is goddamn 15 grand a fucking year, or $100 fucking dollars a fucking month. I'm like, goddamn, where the fuck was all this cheap shit nowadays? Like health insurance, healthcare, that only costed like $90. 90 fucking bucks to get some fucking healthcare and some fucking health insurance, dude. And that was like a large sum of money back then. And it was not insanely expensive. It's like nowadays you have to have fucking $15 fucking $1,000 to fucking pay for all that shit these days. Like, what the fuck is that bullshit? You had like $11 an hour, and you worked like what, like nowadays you have to make like far beyond over $11 an hour these days. Back then, making $11 an hour, man or woman, you know, man or woman, women barely even fucking worked back then. But the only jobs that women got back in those days was teaching jobs and medical job, like healthcare and hospital jobs back then. And those, and also modeling jobs too. And even being notorious sex workers back then. Like, sex workers back then did not get police harassment back then like they do these days. Like, goddamn, man. Like sex work these days is fucking illegal. But sex work back in those days, sure, it was illegal, but the fucking cops did not fucking bother a hooker back then. Nowadays, a hooker is considered a fucking street whore. A fucking woman that belongs to the streets. Like, what the fuck is all that shit, dude? Like, they're also getting involved in drugs. I mean, back in the day, like back before I ever had a fucking physical vessel to put myself into. Like, before all this, drugs were not being, well, only medicinal drugs were being pushed, but narcotic drugs were not being pushed. Because why? Cartels were not powerful back then as they are now. Cartels were getting cracked down on every fucking day, dude. Even the mob was not as powerful back then. Well, they're still powerful, but they were way more powerful than the fucking cartel back then. Back then, the government was cracking down on cartels back then. killing off cartel leader after cartel leader, spanning from 1900 to 1999. And in the early 1980s, bam, narcotic drug cartels were getting more and more powerful, spanning from 1960 to today. And they're the most powerful criminal organizations on earth. They're the second most powerful ones. The number one most powerful criminal organizations are terrorist organizations. And yes, back in from 1900 to 1969, cartels were being cracked down on harder back then to keep America narcotics free back in those days. And then bam, then all the tax hikes started happening through the 1900s. Like nowadays,
That asshole just robbed me. You gotta stop that guy. He jacked all my money.
I'm sorry about that. You know what?
like back then, you had, a lot, and I mean like a lot of, $11. Back when you were growing up in, the 1900s, you had, if you needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost 15 board games, you could ask your parents for $11. And board games back in those days was a solid $11.05. And the 5-cent thing was a fucking tax thing. Paying, you didn't have to pay, you didn't have to pay the full price. Well, a solid $11. A solid $11 for a board game. Anywhere from $1 to 11. And that was a fucking cheap board game. And the board game came with a set of rules on how to play the game and cards and all the other additional shit. Additional, stuff that came with the game. And there was no need for fucking game patches back then because back in those days, that was the video game of the time, of that timeline, of that era. And that was a big deal back then. And back in those days, if you had like a board game, that was the video game of the 1900s, from like the 1800s all throughout the 1900s. And that was like, you know, the video games of that time. And the card games were like the mobile game apps of that time, and the only ones. That and if you had like you know, like starter pack cards like they had when I was, you know, like a kid and shit. Because if you either had like starter decks that are modeled and made immediately as a part of the merchandising of like your favorite fucking anime or show, like Pokemon or Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh or any of that shit back when I was growing up. That was like the mobile card, the mobile game app. Well, that was like one of only 2 mobile game apps back then. Like, you could whip out a deck of cards and play with your friends. Like either the Renaissance period or the TV show or anime style mobile gaming back then. Like, that was all the mobile gaming we had back then, aside from Tamagotchis. That was a big hit in the in like the late 80s and all through the 90s. You know, I don't know, and you had Tamagotchis in the 2000s as well, or mobile, like those mobile dice games back then. Like you played dice and you played I think X's and O's on paper, or paper football, or like that Jackson and like pickup sticks and a ball, and like a rubber ball with like a bunch of jacks with that. And then there was D&D. You know, D&D was also a big thing back then. I think it still is. And then, well, a lot of the gaming stuff happened to be in, you know,
$5 for a hand job's the best you're gonna get.
you know, like, you had like, you know, like a lot of, you know, like money, or, you know, like you had like a lot, you know, and 10 or, well, mostly $11, you can go to a fucking flea market or a fucking thrift store and fucking find a fucking board game or a deck of playing cards or starter cards, and the anime based playing cards are called starter cards, and the Renaissance cards are just called playing cards, like a deck of cards. I mean, we didn't have starter cards of American cartoons, at least not yet. But we also had baseball cards back then. That was as close as you were going to get to the American version. Or sports cards of sports athletes. That was as close as you were going to get. Or pro wrestling cards. Cards of your favorite sports athletes and professional wrestlers back then. That was as close as you were ever going to get to the American or Western version of, you know, starter cards. And yeah, that was the only American version of the starter packs that we have now. Like, that was the Western version of the starter cards. You know, the American version of the starter cards. Yeah, like baseball cards, basketball cards, hockey cards. Oh, you name the sport. The physical labor sports. You had, you know, baseball, basketball, soccer, whatever sports. You had also like those motor or racing sports cards. Yeah, you had like those starter, you know, like starter pack cards of like sports athletes. And that's all you were going to get. Aside from pro wrestlers that you know, made like, you know, a bunch of, you know, money off of, you know, like a whole ass professional wrestling promotional company would, like, you know, like allow, you know, like their entire roster to become collectible cards. And that was like the starter pack back in those days, the American starter pack. And back before TVs were ever a thing. You know,
that right there is the problem with this city. Oh, nasty ass.
you know, like there was like pro wrestlers that were, you know, having, during like those days, during like the days where the WWF was the World Wrestling Federation, where it was like taking over the entire country's professional wrestling market. Yeah, you had like yeah, you had like yeah, you pretty much had like sports athletes and motor sports athletes and professional wrestling athletes as the only, you know, you know, the only starter pack that America had at that time.
Get away from here. Y'all ain't got no business over here. We recognize you, bitches. Man, talk to me about some dollars, man. I don't want to hear none of that shit.
And
Rupert, is that you? I swear to God. Game don't change, that's all I'm saying.
like that was all that we had. And like those who were professional wrestling fans back then, back when every single state in America had their own, you know, professional wrestling promotional company. There's about 50 there's about 50 states. You know, you had like, like professional wrestling promotional companies.
I can look at that all day.
You know, like those like back when, you know, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation that was owned by Vince McMahon Sr. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation started, you know, like gaining, well, there's like a lot, and I mean a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, going around and, you know, promoting their companies and going into other, you know, pro wrestling territories back in those days. But I'm gonna get into that now in this video, because professional wrestlers, depending on how many fans in attendance that got their tickets, the tickets cost $11. Like pro wrestling tickets cost like $11, and the pay-per-views were on radio, and that was for free back in those days. Like, oh, you couldn't pay for that shit, because that was on the, that was streamed, audio live streamed on the radio. People used to get it together and huddle together at the radio, right by the radio and shit. You know, back when, you know, pro wrestling was, you know, a massive hit back then. And pro wrestlers, depending on how many fans that showed up to the arenas back then, wrestlers made way more than 0.1221% of the money, and they were going all over like the state, each professional wrestling promotional companies, where you know.
I'd drop that right now if I was you.
Like,
Did you get my stuff back? Hey, here you go.
Oh my god, man. You're awesome.
like, well, we had like. We had like, you know, we had like, you know, like 50 professional wrestling promotional companies, and then the worldwide wrestling federation started taking over more territories. I don't know where the WWE started at. I think it was Madison Square Garden. But I don't know what state that was located in. But I'm not too like knowledgeable, or I'm not like a professional wrestling expert or anything like that. I just grew up watching professional wrestling, and I thought it was pretty neat to watch it on TV at the time. But Vince McMahon Sr. made the WWE, and before the animal conservation services ever existed, they were making bogus claims of, you know, who had the rights to the initials WWF or some shit like that. Like, that's not entirely true. The animal conservation services, you know, had those initials, and they were ashamed of those, so they decided to go by WWF, the World Wildlife Fund, or whatever the fuck it was infringing on. Like, bro, we all know that the Animal Conservation Services changed their name illegally. Like, bro, like, we all know how that happens.
Hey, holla at me, y'all. Peace.
Like, we all know how that happens. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation's legacy was destroyed by some dumb son of a bitch motherfuckers that comes up out of nowhere in the 1960s, trying to steal the name of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which has existed before the fucking animal conservation services, you know.
I got an excuse for being on foot. I'm from Liberty City. Hey, tough guy, we need a ride. On your knees and stay down till we're gone.
No!
Oh, this is gone to shit. I'm out.
You gotta watch out, fool!
Thank you for dealing with those punks. The police do nothing around here. Son of a...
I mean, look at all the stupid shit that's been going on. I mean, look at like Vince McMahon Sr. and Vince McMahon Jr. Vince McMahon Jr. has, you know, well, Vince McMahon Jr. did not protect his father's legacy. Vince McMahon Sr. would have never give in to punk-ass motherfuckers. All the animal conservation services was just a fucking zoo. And an animal advocacy type of people. But they were so fucking money hungry and so fucking greedy that in like the in like 2002 they wanted to get their hands on the intellectual property, the intellectual properties of the World Wrestling Federation, which was the initials. Like, that ain't fucking cool. And I hated them for that. They illegally changed their name without proper documents back then. I mean, look at all the bullshit, dude. I mean...
Hey, Michael, it's me, man. Wanna hang out, man?
Yeah, sure. I thought you'd given up on me.
Good, I'll see you soon, man. Hey, T, listen, I'm about to meet Michael. You wanna join us?
Oh, hello, stranger. Yeah, don't worry about old Trevor. Yeah, just, no, sure. Come by, laugh at me.
Okay, good. I'll be there soon.
I mean, look at all the bullshit, dude. I mean, look at all the bullshit that pro wrestling has been through. Back then, you know, they employ all the professional wrestling promotions hired teenagers. They originally hired teenagers that were fresh out of school, or you know, that had to, you know, drop out of school. But they wound up, you know, going around you know, everybody knows, yeah, like literally everybody knows that nowadays they're hiring adults to you know, not be a cliche.
Good to see you, man. Calm it down.
Like,
So, let me ask you a question, kid.
Yeah, shoot.
Does this town make everybody crazy? I mean, since we moved here, my wife, my son, my daughter, me, we've all gone insane. I mean,
like,
everybody
look
I
at
meet
everything that's
is
been going
insane.
on.
Is it the
like we have like
place or the times?
like
Well,
I'm not so sure, but
I guess I'm the last person you should be
but
asking that question.
everybody knows
Based on you,
that, you
me,
know,
my aunt, and all my friends, pretty
you know,
much
like
everyone is crazy.
like everybody knows that that the Worldwide Wrestling Federation started taking over all the states and buying out promotion after promotion. When it became Worldwide Wrestling Federation, like a lot has changed. Like a lot has changed. Then it went from Worldwide Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Federation over the course of like decades, years, fucking 4 fucking generations, you know, not including my generation or anything. Like,
Ladies, let's go get our nails done.
So, isn't this nice? Let's hope so. Yeah, let's hope so. If we can just get 5 minutes without you two arguing, I'll be happy.
It's not gonna happen. Michael loves arguing.
Yeah, that's rich coming from you.
Hey, I don't like arguing. I like being respected. But you like arguing. All those silly one-liners, like you're a gumshoe in a film noir. That silly way you speak out of the side of your mouth.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What
like,
are you talking about?
like, look at all the bullshit that's
You're
been going on.
a sentimental idiot who loves arguing as a form of affection. Because
Like,
your whole life, your only frame of reference for anything was trying to act like you were in a movie.
Bullshit.
Not bullshit. It's true. You're a deluded vain turd, and you're sure as shit not in a movie.
like, bro, we all know how issues between the two organizations got started. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation, it was destroyed because some bad fucking bastards, fucking bad fucking punk motherfuckers, some dumb punk motherfuckers ruined every fucking damn thing they touched. Like,
Give your passenger some warning.
like they never learned to lay off. Like, you can't go around doing that shit, you know? Like, look at all the shit that the Animal Conservation Service has caused. They caused everybody to turn on the the WWF. And Vince McMahon Jr. acted like a little bitch and allowed them to steal what property that belonged to the McMahon family, which was that fucking, which was those fucking initials, WWF.
Listen, kid, just turn into a snake like old Fatty there. It kills you, all that treachery. Eats you from the inside.
Yeah, well, you look, kid, you listen to me. Trevor here, he acts real, but there is no code. None. There isn't this great morality underpinning his actions. He's just a complete turd.
Damn, man, well, this is a fun way to spend the time.
Hold on. Damn! You are an idiot.
I mean, look at all the bullshit, dude. Like, that's kind of like how shit is, man. Like,
Citizens report assault with a deadly weapon.
Like,
Graham Street.
Like, look at all the bullshit that's been going on, dude. I mean, look at all the crap that's been going on around, like, you know. And you know, 0.1221% of all the money that an average family makes, and these WWE superstars, they come from average fucking families, and then they get all big and fucking famous like a bunch of goddamn movie stars. Like, what the fuck? We got like a lot of motherfuckers here in Indiana. There's only one that is from Indiana. That is, you know, a legitimate pro fucking wrestler. And I doubt that she even remembers being from Indiana. I mean, we all know how this ends. We all know how this ends, dude.
Citizens reporting assault with a deadly weapon on Graham Street in Davis.
I mean, we all know how this ends, dude.
suspect left soon in, Southern Davis.
I mean, we all know how this ends, dude.
Keep your head down. Let's go.
I mean, we all know how this ends.
Why do you exist? Come on! Kill me, I need something to talk to my shrink about. Take this guy. I'm reloading! Stay there! Oh.
You depressing afterthought.
What the fuck? Just reloading. You make my skin.
Mr. Sharpshooter.
I mean, look at all the bullshit that the WWF was put through.
Stay down. Back off. I'll kill you. Let's get this dude. Put it away.
Officers report person resisting arrest in, Southern.
Like, we all know how this ends, dude. The professional wrestling company got screwed. Ugh. And then we have, like, you know, we all know how that ends. And 0.1221% was the maximum for average families. Even professional wrestlers back in those days made like $11 an hour. And that was like them building up an even bigger, way more bigger amount of money back in those days. And even professional wrestlers back then were put on the same financial playing field. But John fucking Cena makes a lot of money. More money than I've ever seen in my fucking lifetime. All because people had to fucking do like goddamn online fucking applications and bullshit like that. All because my fucking dumbass fucking punk motherfucker, the high school principal, fucking banned me from going back to school ever again. Fucking contaminated my motherfucking future. All because I was like an unpopular, annoyed fucking white kid. But that's enough of that fucking rant. I'm just saying, it couldn't hurt to fucking make it fucking so that having a responsible for his own actions principle fucking gets face to face with the fucking student that he or she fucking banned from going to school and contaminated their fucking future by doing so. I had no future after that. That's why I keep on griping, complaining, and bitching and bemoaning all the goddamn bullshit that our fucking education system has been you know, doing the past 30 fucking years. The motherfucking dropout fucking rates are fucking skyrocketing through the fucking roof because goddamn teachers are being fucking boring, disrespectful bitch fuckers and bitch ass punk motherfuckers that fucking disrespect their own fucking students and fucking disrespect and put bad mouthing on somebody else's fucking kids and fucking bad mouth their fucking kids. Like no, you're in the position to teach. You are not put in the position to, you know, disrespect somebody's fucking kids like that. When you let them get fucking bullied. That kind of shit makes them want to fucking lash out justifiably. Then you go and fuck up their life and contaminate their future by fucking banning them from ever going to fucking school. It's not okay. My future was fucking contaminated. And yes, a certain motherfucker that hadn't fucking faced me at all has caused me fucking problems. Ever since. And he knows he's in trouble. He knows he shouldn't have done what he did. He knows what he did was wrong. He knows he's fucking scared of me. He's fucking scared to face the man that he banned from high school, from ever going to school, from ever taking any of the damn high school classes. The motherfucker's scared, and he's hiding behind his fucking wife because he's scared of fucking facing the man that he fucking banned from high school. He's fucking scared. He's a fucking pussy. He won't fucking take responsibility for his own actions. He fucking won't man up and meet me face to face and apologize for what he did. He ain't a fucking real man if he ain't gonna fucking go and face the man that they fucking banned from ever going to high school, his first fucking year of high school. He's asking his wife and begging his wife not to fucking make him go and face him at a certain fucking location, because he knows he's in fucking trouble. I know he is. He's fucking scared. He's hiding behind his wife and begging his wife not to fucking make him do it. Make him apologize to my face for it. Like, he's too fucking chicken shit to fucking apologize to me, to my face, for what he did. And contaminated my motherfucking future. To motherfucking ban me from fucking high school. That man, you know who you are. You coward. You stupid motherfucking coward. You punk motherfucker. Too damn chicken shit to fucking apologize to me for contaminating my future? To apologize to me to my fucking face for what you did? You know you did wrong. That's why you were hiding behind your wife. You're begging your wife not to make you face me. You know you're scared. You know you're scared of admitting that you fucked up badly. You think you're big and badass? You think you're a real man? A real man would own up to his fuck ups and admit that he is sorry for fucking up somebody else's life like that. I was fucking 14. My first fucking year of high school. I got fucking banned before I ever hit 12th grade. You know who you are. I could have made $11 an hour, and that would be like 0.1221% of the fucking money I could make. I wouldn't have to go through Hillcroft if it wasn't for that fucking dumb punk motherfucker. I know who you are. I seen your face years ago. Over. Like what? When I was like 15, that's 1. 16, that's 2. 17, that's 3. 18, that's 4. 19, that's 5. 20, that's 6. 21, that's 7. 22, that is, I do believe 8. 23, that's 9. 24, that's 25, that's 11. 26, that's 12. Over 12 fucking years ago, I was banned from high school my first year. And yet the motherfucker still fucking hiding behind his wife because he's too damn fucking chicken shit to apologize for fucking my life up by banning me from fucking high school. I could have made 0.1221% on average of earnings from a job that pays $11 an hour if you had of just let me pass through fucking high school like my fucking middle school allowed me to do so, despite the fucking trouble that was caused. And the punk motherfucker that actually fucking did it, that got me expelled, you know who you are. You're fucking scared. You are fucking scared. When we fucking cross paths again, years later, you knew it was me. You were hiding behind a couple people. You're scared of me, man. Those who wronged me in the past, they know something. They know I'm out for blood. They're a bunch of cowards. They don't want to apologize. I got your fucking number. I know what what a couple of you motherfuckers are doing. You're hiding. And boy, oh boy, I'm out to collect a fucking debt. I am still bent on tying up some loose ends. As soon as I tie up those loose ends, I still got you know, a few loose ends that I need to tie up. One, the ultimate one, is the fucking Christian churches. The whole Christian cult. A small Canaanite pantheon cult that I need to fucking tie that loose end up. And I'm fucking one step fucking closer to punishing the ultimate motherfucker that fucking took my family from me. Like, I'm out to fucking punish that motherfucker for taking my family from me. And I'm gonna tie up another loose end. I got some loose ends I need to tie up. And another, well, the Hollywood aspect of the loose end that I need to tie up is let my father Zeus continue to relentlessly punish you, Scooter Braun. Oh, your divorce is just the beginning of your punishment. The beginning of your punishment. And all of social media is the second loose end I need to fucking tie up. Is by making, you know, like a political, you know, like a political, like a political aspect of punishing not also Scooter Braun, but also the police department in the state, the law enforcement in the entire state of Indiana for not opening up an investigation of maltreatment of my babe, of my little sister that died in Riley Hospital almost over 20 years ago, back in the 90s, by punishing the police and then punishing the gaming industry or the entertainment industry, preferably both the music industry and the gaming industry. Punish both of those industries. Sorry about the whole ruckus of my phone falling. Like, punishing them, you know, punishing, you know, the whole music industry and the gaming industry, punishing them for taking Apollo's fucking property, which was being the Greek god of music as well, and of art, and punishing the gaming industry for stealing my ideas as well. And that's like the third one. The fifth one is punishing Hillcroft for not taking care of my problems, or what was causing me problems, correctly, and punishing a couple, you know, like at least like 3 fucking individuals. 3 fucking individuals that I need to fucking punish. Justin Bieber because he slapped Selena Gomez in the face, but also deflowered her before I could. But the man who got me expelled out of high school and the man who actually expelled me from high school and tying up an additional sixth loose end, the animation industry, with pandering to the LGBTQ community. And the seventh transgressor that slash loose end I need to tie up is the subsequent punishment of the LGBTQ community and their supporters. And also adding two more names to that list, Michelle Winter and Mackenzie Meadows. But Mackenzie Meadows, oh, my daddy Zeus is punishing her for denying unto the Prince of Olympus. Yeah, that's right, Mackenzie Meadows, you dumb bitch. You denied upon the prince, denied the proposal of being the girlfriend of the Prince of Olympus. And you too, Michelle Winter. And yes, as soon as I see you two suffer miserably. And well, I'm not gonna attack Winnie Monroe. I have nothing against her. And then after all those loose ends are tied up, and the government holds itself accountable for its own actions, and punishing the license branch for trying to comply with the fucking police and the fucking crappy laws in America. All loose ends in my life will be tied up. And the book publishing will be in the public domain. That means all loose ends in my life will be tied permanently. And those who try to turn my friends against me, that's an additional. That's among the additional loose ends I need to tie up, is to make sure my friends are all permanently loyal to me, undying devotion to me as a friend. That no matter what the fuck I do, I don't care what the fuck I do, I could do what the fuck ever, and it'll take an act of a god, of another god, to force my friends to, against their will, to turn on me, or to turn their back on me, or to turn against me. I mean, it'll take everything in somebody's power to turn my friends against me. But I will. No doubt about it. Make sure that loose end is permanently tied up. Like, I don't care what the fuck I do. I could fucking knock out one friend of mine, and he or she would still be loyal, like a fucking fucking disciple level of loyalty. A disciple. A cult disciple level. Like a religious disciple level. Like a disciple level of loyalty that they have for me. Like, bro. Yeah, like, we all know how that ends up. I mean, look at all the things that I could do. I mean, everything. When I get all loose ends in my life tied up, that means everything is in the public domain. And I mean, everything is in the public domain. Like you can pretty much write whatever the fuck you want, and everybody gets everybody gets a fucking slice of the fucking profit. And yeah, mark my words, being gay will be punished by law again. And the Abrahamic religions permanently gone. Polytheistic religions being the most dominant religions in America. In America. Like they will, you know, be, you know, in the basics of like, you know, being punished. And social media will be more pandering to you know, anti-Abrahamic religion, anti-LGBTQ, anti-terrorist, everything. And anti-race, well, anti-racist. And yes, like if you see like a character in a video game that's in the public domain, I mean, you could write about it. Using already well-established characters in the video games. And yes, making whatever you want, whatever story you want. And I'm just saying, once all loose ends and getting like trillions of followers, and I mean trillions, far beyond like Odyssean amount of followers every generation or so. And mark my words, I will take over all social media, buy off all the social media platforms in the world, and make a super social media platform. And I will call it what I want. Mixing photo and video sharing platforms with video only sharing platforms. Meaning you can gain a small amount of followers and being able to live stream on videos and all internet search engines I will take over as well to make the ultimate and I'll be a literal final boss of search engines where if you set up an account and that will be connected to all social media, all video sharing platforms that will be in that bundle. And meaning there will be no guidelines. There will be no guidelines. That means even adult entertainment sites will be added and taken over. Meaning you no longer need sponsorship. That means your home address will be a part of that. Satellite cameras will snap photos of your fucking home address and your zip code, and once you get a big or small, I don't care what the fuck size following you have, and taking over advertising companies too, and running ads on every video. Even the garbage content that is not like unwatchable will also get ads, and they get customized ads. They get customized ads on they get all features available on the video sharing platforms. All features, even download a video feature. All features, all the features of all video sharing social network platforms, all of them. And yes, there will be no report buttons. That means you can dislike a video all you want, argue in the comment section all you want, and the report button will be removed. That means you have to verify. The only verification thing that you need is your sexuality. If you say that you're LGBTQ, you are automatically disqualified and denied access to all social media permanently. But if you are straight, that is accepted. And that means if you're anti-LGBTQ or anti-Abrahamic religion, that will be well, even if you're if you're an atheist or a polytheist, that will be confirmed. But if you were a Satanist or an Abrahamic religion follower, you will be disqualified. That means only atheists and polytheists and straights will be allowed to use the internet as they see fit. And that means great things will come of it. And that means even if you want a gold statue in your image and honor and likeness, that shit will be $40 fucking for solid gold, real, actual, legitimate, authentic, genuine golden statues. If you want one, it'll cost $40 fucking. And guess fucking what? If you want, you could have whatever name you want added to the fucking plaque. And the plaque will be a golden, like the reflective, shiny golden, you know, version of a fucking whiteboard. And there will be a dry erasable markers added that will be premium, everlasting ones that will never go dry ever. That means it'll be in like an insanely large array of colors and shades of colors of your choosing. And you could have people write whatever they want on your golden statue, and doing away with the headstone system and the golden statue system, replacing the headstone system. And the only form of headstone system that there will be is for mausoleums that will be bigger, take up 1/3 of the cemetery, not be for like a group of people that will be in like an organization. And yes, inside the mausoleum will be golden statues, genuine golden statues with already made things on it. If I get into power, bam, everybody will be able to get in on it. But if you're, well, all polytheistic religions, even new polytheistic religions that will come out and that will be followed, you can go by the names of the new polytheistic gods, and you will be able to be worshipped as one of them. And yes, and permanently banning child abuse of any kind. Thusly, hospitals will be given massive schools and hospitals will be given massive funding. Grocery stores, all businesses besides the policing and the crime will be given massive funding. And I mean massive funding. That means life-saving technology that is so advanced that it literally raises the dead as soon as they die. Like, they can be dead for hours on end. hell, even days on end, even years on end, and bring them back from the dead as they were before they were alive, before they died, and even remaking corpses that were cremated and dead, and bring them back from the dead. Yes, medical technology, medical science that is that far beyond advanced enough to do anything. And the food system, making sure that Earth has literally unlimited natural resources, meaning overrun the Earth with natural resources, which people that have already been brought back from the dead will be able to partake in once more. Thusly, there will be a lot of generations. That means Earth and the end of the world will never come ever. And all wars will end. That means a lot. All countries having all the whatever gods, whatever boss of and father of all gods that whatever country worships, that they get. That means if I get into power, I will do all kinds of good, great, and amazing things. As soon as all the loose ends in my life are tied up, that means that means all utilities, all the premium utilities. That means all utilities, all of them, will be 70 cents a month. 70 cents a month for all utilities. And universal health care, no matter where you're at in the world, you immediately get universal health care on steroids. That means all of them. That means all of them. And yes, everything will be great. Ideas, like a massive swath of publishers for all ideas. Like whatever ideas that you have will be, you know, published for only 60 cents to start off with. And everything will be, you know, will be for good. But if you kill somebody, you will be punished for you, and you will not be allowed out of prison. I will not allow the real world to become Purge. The Purge movie. You know, I won't allow that shit. Going around killing people for no reason will be banned. Permanently banned. That means that a lot of people, and yes, you won't even need 1 million followers on social media to be able to be having like a movie character or a TV character or cartoon character in your image, name, and likeness be made, and you will get your own movie. You could like have 70 fucking followers and gain what social media celebrity status with only a small amount of followers. You could have like 10 goddamn followers on social media and become an instant overnight celebrity. An instant overnight celebrity. You can become a celebrity overnight by yourself. And OnlyFans? Oh! For every single person. You know? Every single person. And yes. And also, you will be able to legally name your kids after whatever characters in the holy books that you read, or whatever books you read, or whatever games you're playing, or whatever TV shows, movies you watch. You can name your children after the characters. And the gene code will be tweaked in every generation. That means even incest will not damage any genes, and replacing recessive genes in 100% of the human race with the dominant gene in 100% of the human race. That means all humans can fuck whoever they want and have kids, healthy kids, at whatever generation. And the permanent young everlasting fountain of youth thing, that will be permanent. You'll be permanently young forever, even though that you are somebody's grandparent. That is, yes, that is and will be permanent. Permanent as in permanent, dude. And yes, and the whole 0.1221% of the average wage for an average to upper class to low class family, the middle and upper class and low class families will get a fair amount. And yes, $11 an hour. And yes, even bonus $11 an hour if you fucking sleep on the job. You'll get paid. Either way, you will get paid $11 an hour for either doing your job or slacking off at your job. You'll still get paid a lot of money That means all the food in the grocery store will be fucking cheap. All the clothes in the clothing stores will be fucking cheap. And everything at surplus stores like Walmart will be fucking $10 fucking an item. If I get into power, all of that will be fucking $10 a piece. Bonus for the 11th if you want to fucking cover tax, which is the extra $1 bill. A single dollar bill will be the tax coverage. And yes, that will be the maximum maximum tax for the item. And everybody knows how that is. Yep. Yep. That will be a thing, though.
Well, you've made it in the end. Please, take a seat.
Hey, you mind if I don't, Doc?
No. Do as you like.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, man. Man. Damn. You know what? Look. I'm just gonna take off. I'm not in the mood for this shit. This fucking bullshit.
As you wish, Michael.
Can I ask you something, Doc? I mean, you're a wise, kind, know-it-all kind of guy.
Go ahead.
You believe in evil?
No. No, I don't. I'm a man of science. Evil is a construct made by people who wish to indulge childish fantasies, or by people who wish to judge others. It all comes back to the father-mother syndrome, which is what we spent last year on.
Yeah, like back then,
we call him Tony.
in the early 1900s, $11.
I told you about him.
No, don't worry, everything.
$11.
Strict confidence.
Didn't you tell me that if I turned things over, started again, that the universe would find some way to forgive me? Wasn't that you?
And have you turned things over?
Well, no, not really. But that's not the point. I wanted to. That is the point.
I mean,
what's been going on exactly, Michael?
I mean, we'll call this a battery.
That of itself will happen.
Relapse is a vital part of recovery.
Yeah, that's a hard one to explain.
Yeah.
The FIB is making
just.
Let's just say one man's patriotism is another man's atrocity. My old pal Trevor, he's got me stealing nukes or some shit off government contractors. My wife's left me, my kids too. My fucking son drugged me. I tried to kill a yoga teacher.
You're giving me facts. You're not telling me how you feel. I worry about your emotional health, Michael. Anything else you want to tell me?
I ain't been a good boy, Doc. I mean, things just all of a sudden get up on top and right fucking on top. And then I lose my shit, and I hurt people, and then I feel bad about it. I'm a fucking prick.
Remorse is good, but not as good as taking control before you act out.
Just don't like myself very much, Doc. And that's the truth.
What about your sexual problems, Michael?
I've been a really good boy, Doc. Really good. Not one problem.
I'm glad to hear that. Really glad. Keep working it. This is great.
If I could just get all these people off my back, Doc, I'd be doing a lot better.
Fascinating. You may actually be a rare combination of a sociopath and a deluded psychopath. Either that or a more classic case of a weak pup who was weaned too soon by an angry mother.
What the hell does that mean?
It means that's about all we have time for. I really want you to work on yourself. Think about the person you'd like to be and really obsess about it. Next week, I'll tell you how to become that person. And remember, brother, we're all rowing together. Now, cross that ocean. Oh, by the way, your insurance ran out. Listen, I don't suppose you could pay cash from now on. If I'm hearing correctly, you've clearly got some.
Yeah. Okay.
Close the door on your way out. And buddy, chin up, okay?
I mean, we all gotta, you know, do something with the, you know, bad things that's been going on, you know? I mean, and also making incest a law. As soon as all of 100% of the human race gets all the same genes, like there will be no more recessive genes. There will be dominant genes in all of 100% of the human race. That means all 100% of the human race will and can and is going to get a hereditary vaccine that will give them nothing but dominant genes. You know, all 100% dominant genes. That means all. If I get into power in politics, that means all. All of the human race will be able to you know, bang whoever they want and, you know, not, you know, have fucked up kids that are genetically fucked up. That means that means an everlasting youth and being permanently young forever. And that even means
oh, crap! That
yep. That means 100% of the human race will be able to have kids. And there'll be more than a small handful of you know, more than just a small handful of generations. That means all people, all generations, and wiping out evil, wiping out the evilness out of everybody permanently. That means a true utopia. That means if I was in power, there will be only a utopian. That means all, you know, all people. That means if I'm in power, a one world government, meaning there will be a lot of people. A lot of people. That means no more wars. That means everybody gets along perfectly. That means a lot. Yep. That means no more hatred, no more differences. But all of it, though,